Okay, we're going to talk about personal pronouns in this video. And I'm going to assume that you already know what the personal pronouns are. I, you, he, she, it, we, they for subject, me, you, him, her, etc. You can access this online or probably already know them. I'm going to be talking about some of the more difficult points about pronouns, things that you should keep in mind. One thing that I will say, first of all, is that there are many native English speakers who make mistakes with this. And you might say, well, if native English speakers make mistakes, why do I need to get it correct? Well, because if you take an English test, you will get marked incorrect on it. And people who do know the difference will hear if it is not correct. So you want to show that you have good English and give correct forms. So let's take a look at these. First thing, your parents might have told you when you were young, or your teacher might say to you, put others before yourself, meaning think about other people's needs before your own needs. Well, this is also true with pronouns. When you are including yourself with other people in a group, you want your own pronoun to be last. You want the other pronouns before it. So the example, my friend and I went out, not I and my friend went out. That would not be proper. So put yourself after the other people. The subject-object pronoun problem, I think that this is partly a result of the fact that teachers have been telling students for so many years to say, my friend and I, she and I, he and I, that now it's in people's heads always to use I in connection with other pronouns. That's only true if it's the subject, because I is a subject. If it's an object, it needs to be me, and you will hear a lot of mistakes with this. So take a look at the sentence. This assignment will take him and I a long time. Him and I. Well, it's good that the pronoun for yourself is at the end, but this is not good form. Him, this is an object pronoun, and this is the object position of will take, so this is good. But I, this is not an object. This is a subject pronoun. So this needs to be changed. This assignment will take him and me a long time. If you want to test to see if something is correct or not, try each pronoun individually. This assignment will take him a long time. Good. This assignment will take me a long time. Good. This assignment will take I a long time. Definitely not good. Then we have its problem, which is only a problem in writing, because speaking it sounds the same. But the problem is whether or not to use an apostrophe. Well, without an apostrophe, it is the possessive adjective, like my, your, possessive adjective. If it has an apostrophe, it is a contraction. Two words put together. So it's maybe it is, it may be it has. I took my car to get its battery replaced. What is this referring to? Not my battery, not your battery, the car's battery. So this is the possessive adjective, no apostrophe. And now it's ready to be picked up. It is ready, contraction. We need an apostrophe. Reflexive pronouns, myself, yourself, himself, herself. These are used if the object position agrees with the subject of the clause. Again, the object needs to agree with the subject of the clause. So he drives himself to work now that he has his license. In this clause, the object agrees with the subject, means it's the same, he, him. So we use a reflexive object pronoun. He drives himself, not he drives him. Non-ambiguity. Ambiguity is when something is not clear, when you are not sure what someone is talking about. Not a good thing. We want non-ambiguity. We want clarity. So for that reason, you don't use a pronoun if it could refer to more than one antecedent. The antecedent is the person or thing that the pronoun is referring back to. Like it's here is referring back to the car. The car is the antecedent. So if there's more than one possible antecedent and it's not clear, you don't want to use a pronoun. My friend and his dad went to the DMV to get his license. His, who is this referring to? Is it referring to my friend or is it referring to his dad? We don't know. Either one is possible. This is ambiguous. Not good. You need to make it clear. My friend and his dad went to the DMV to get I could just say to get the dad's license. Whatever it is that you want it to be. But it needs to be clear. And finally, the gender pronoun problem. We have a neutral pronoun in English for it, for singular. But the problem is it doesn't refer to people. If you are talking about singular third person, you need to identify male or female. And this makes it complicated if you want to talk about people in general. You need to say he and she, him and her. And it gets to be very heavy, not smooth writing. So this is a bit of a problem. Every child needs to make his or her own mistakes. Every child, this is singular, so we need to say his or her own mistakes. It's just one sentence like this, that's fine. But if you want to avoid this problem, one of the most common ways to avoid this problem is to change it to the plural. Make it plural, then you don't have a problem because the plural possessive adjective there is for male and female. So you could say all children need to make their own mistakes. Okay, so that's one possibility for fixing the problem. Another possibility is that you could use the pronoun one. It's quite formal to do that. So we don't do it very often. But you could do that. One needs to make, and then the possessive is going to be one's own mistakes. Now, this doesn't work so well because it's not telling us that we're talking about children. So in this case, maybe this would not be a very good option. But in some cases, it would work fine. Okay. So I've got some sentences over here. I want you to pause the video for a minute and correct any problems that you see. Correct any errors. And then restart it and we will go through this together. Okay, ready? Pause. Okay, let's take a look at this. You should have seen in the first sentence a couple of problems right away. Is this a possessive adjective or is it a contraction? Well, it's not a possessive adjective because there's no noun after it. This is actually a subject and a verb. It has been. So you need your apostrophe there. It's been a really hard day for I and my classmates. Immediately, you should think, oh, no. The first person pronoun needs to come at the end. That's true. So let's put my classmates first. My classmates. And I. Well, for is a preposition. After a preposition will be the object position. I is not object position, it is subject position. We need the object pronoun, me, for my classmates and me. We had a test which took ourselves too long to finish. You might look at this and say, oh, well, that agrees with the subject, so good. The subject of which clause? This right here is an adjective clause describing test. Which refers to the test. Which is the subject of this clause. Ourselves does not agree with the subject. So it doesn't work. Which took us too long to finish. One of my friends gave himself a stomachache. Does this agree with the subject? The subject is one of my friends. Well, assuming that this is a male friend, then yes, that's the same person in the subject and the object position. So reflexive is good. Gave himself a stomachache since he was so anxious during the test. He said it was awful. Any problem you see? It. What does it refer to? Does it refer to the test or the stomachache? It could be the test was awful. It could be the stomachache was awful. This is ambiguous. We don't want ambiguity. So we need to make this clear. You could say he said the test was awful, or he said the stomachache was awful. Or you could say something a little different that makes it clear. He said the pain was awful. Then we understand we're talking about the stomachache, not the test. I don't think anybody can do their best on a test if they're too upset. This is a sentence that you will hear native English speakers use, a construction like this, using a plural pronoun when it should be singular. And this is our problem with gender pronoun. So, what are you going to do here? You could change the pronoun. I don't think anybody can do his or her best on a test if he or she is too upset. That gets really heavy. It doesn't sound good. Much better to keep this and change this. So I don't think, let's change it to students, for example, can do their best on a test if they are too upset. So these are some of the points that you want to remember and get correct with your personal pronouns.